All right, man. I'm just gonna finally record the Ween tier list. I love they just make really fun music, and I had a lot of fun going through their discography. And I think it'd be time I do a tier list on them. I included the Friends EP, and I included Shinola Volume One. I also included their first three albums. I mean, technically, I'm also gonna be going in release order, meaning I'm gonna start with Erica Peterson's Flaming Crib Death. So let's just get into that, man. So like I was saying, Erica Peterson's Flaming Crib Death. This is Ween's first album, technically, and it is their only straight bad album. It's going in F tier. It literally just sounds like weird noises for literally 20 minutes, I think. The closer is pretty good, but literally everything else is just weird, noisy stuff, I guess. It sounds like something me and a friend could make with drums and a guitar. Literally, that's all we need to make this album. It kind of sucks. As I said, though, the last song is actually pretty good. But yeah, overall, it's pretty bad. This thing's a decent 2. It's just weird friggin' noises for 20 minutes. That's all I remember it as. Then we got the Crucial Squeegee Lip, I think. This one's going in C tier. I actually thought this was a decent listen. It just feels like God, Ween, Satan light. There are some songs on here that do actually feel like songs. I'd say at least half of this album feels like actual music. But then the other half is still that kind of weird screwing around type stuff. It's still a fun listen, though. It's not too long, but it's pretty consistent. I didn't really have any moments where I'm this is straight just noisy garbage. It's just pretty consistently good, you know? As I said, though, it's kind of like God, Ween, Satan light is all. It's pretty good, actually. It's a decent 7 for me. I enjoy it. I thought it was good. Then we got Ween 2. I'm pretty sure it's called Axis Bold as Boognish. This freaking weird album title. It's also going in C tier. It just feels like more of the Crucial Squeegee Lip. Seriously, I feel like if you just listen to the Crucial Squeegee Lip, you have the perfect assessment of what their older stuff sounds like. It's good, but I just feel like I'd rather listen to Squeegee Lip over this is all. They're both pretty much on the same level of quality, though. It's a light to decent 7 for me. It's quality, but as I said, it just feels more Crucial Squeegee Lip. Now we're getting to the real stuff, the stuff that's on streaming, the stuff that everyone knows. Let's start with God, Ween, Satan, because this one is going straight into freaking S tier. This one's amazing, man. Despite its length, it's over an hour, it's insanely consistent, and it does not drag at all. Once I heard someone classify this as oh, it's noise rock, I'm I'm gonna love this, aren't I? This is amazing. It's just super good. You get 3 short songs, and then you'll get the 7-minute Odyssey song. It's freaking weird. It's super all over the place. A lot of weird stuff going on. It's just amazing throughout, man. I love the sound of this thing. I love the vocals. I just love the energy of it. Like I said, you'll get 5. You just get a bunch of short songs, then you get one long song for some reason. But it doesn't drag at all. And it flew by too. For having I think 20 plus songs, it does not drag. It just flew straight by. I started it, I'm okay. And then literally, I guess an hour later, it's already over, and I'm what? That felt 30 minutes. It's crazy, man. Insanely consistent album. I love it so much. It's super good. It's a very strong 9 for me, man. I love this album. Easily one of their best to me. And we're just going hit for hit, man. It's The Pod. That one's also going in S tier. Above God, Ween, Satan. That first track on this one kind of scared me. The weird vocals I wasn't a fan of. I thought the production was cool, though. And I was is this what the album is going to be? And no, it wasn't at all. It's this freaking weird adventure of an album. It's super weird and all over the place. You got this one song where it's this guy and he's ordering food. What? It was good. It was a very good song, but why does it exist? And then you get this one song, and it's just it's something off of God, Ween, Satan, but it's recorded on the worst microphone you've ever heard. This album sounds awful, but I love it. It sounds just so weird. It's it's an adventure, man. There's so much weird stuff happening. There might be a song where you're I'm not really liking this as much as the last one, but then it picks right back up, and it just keeps going. There's no rest on here, dude. It's just insanely consistent. It's God, Ween, Satan in the sense that it goes on for over an hour, but does not overstay its welcome at all. I was listening to this thing, and I was man, this goes crazy. This album is amazing. I love it so much. It's just super fun, man, and it sounds like 2 friends just making the weirdest music they could think of and recording it on the worst microphone you've ever heard. It's super fun, man, and I love it. I love it a lot. The pod is also a strong 9. Okay, now we got pure guava. This one's gonna go in A tier, I'd say. Here's my problem with guava. It kind of feels like it takes the weirdness of the pod, and then it takes like the more accessible, punky, like rock sound of God, Ween, Satan, and then puts it all together, and it works. It's actually pretty cool. But I feel like it kind of loses personality because of that. I feel like this is easily like the weakest out of the Brown trilogy to me. It's still pretty good, and I actually still really enjoy this one. But I just feel like it doesn't have the oozing personality of the pod. I don't think it has like the big bangers that God, Ween, Satan has. It's still pretty good though. I remember there was one song on here that was literally just like noise wall, like really weirdly recorded. It was super like, I think it's like 5 minutes long, and it's just like, and I'm like, okay, why did that go crazy? Overall though, I just feel like this album doesn't have the same like levels of personality as the other two. It's still pretty great though. It's just not as unique as the other two albums is all. It's like a light to decent 9 for me. I enjoy it a lot, just not as much as the others. Then we got the one with the goofy cover, Chocolate and Cheese. A lot of people like this one, man. And I like it. I like it, just not as much as everyone else. This one's going in B tier. I think this thing's pretty consistent. It also has some moments that are just pretty repetitive and boring. It just feels like they're not changing up their sound enough on this album. Like, you'll get like 3 songs back to back that kind of sound the same. And like a lot of people say, oh, this one has the most variety of any Ween album. I'm like, no, it doesn't, dude. This might be one of their like least variety filled albums. It's still pretty great though. I still really like it. It's just like not up to par with like literally all the other popular ones. Like everyone says, oh my God, this one might be their best album. I'm like, no, it isn't, dude. This isn't even close. It's still a great album though. I just feel like I see a bunch of people saying, oh, this is the best one. I'm like, how? I don't see it. It just doesn't have the highs of some of their better works. It doesn't have the weirdness and like sheer personality that the Brown trilogy has. It's still pretty great though. Just not up there, you know? It's like a strong 8 for me. It's pretty great, but not all that, you know? Then we got 12 Country Greats. This one's also going in B tier, under Chocolate and Cheese. Here's your obligatory, I'm not a country fan, but this is actually a great album because that literally applies to me. I do not like country music at all, but I actually really like this album. I thought the vocals like would be kind of a problem, but they weren't. I actually really like them. The instrumentation was pretty great too. I think my problem with it though is that there are some songs on here that just kind of like are just kind of like, they're not even bad, they're just kind of boring, you know? They're like good songs. They're just kind of like, that was definitely a good song, you know? Like they don't really leave an impact on me. There are a few good highlights on here though. It's just a nice vibey album, honestly. It's really nice. It feels kind of smooth, like I'm trotting around on a horse in the desert, you know? It feels like the cover actually. Yeah, I really like this thing. I thought it was actually pretty great. And I'm giving it like a decent to strong 8. I thought this was a quality album. It's nothing too crazy, but I actually really enjoyed it, you know? It's a simple album. Then we got the Mollusk. This one is going in S tier. I want you to picture this. You're in a pirate ship. It's creaking around. You hear the waves splashing up against the ship. And then you hear all these pirates, man, and they're like singing different songs. They all have like different personalities and everything. They're all weird and kind of smelly, but you're just on this boat and you're just rocking back and forth with these guys and they're singing their music, you know? That's what this album sounds like. It just sounds like a bunch of freaking pirates on a boat, and it's amazing, dude. There's so much different stuff going on here. You'll get one song and you're like, oh my God, that was really good, you know? You're banging your head. And then you get one song and I was like, that was beautiful, man. It's super consistent. There's so much variety and sound here, and it's just like, it's all over the place, but in a good way, man. It feels like the ocean. It feels like, honestly, this album helped create SpongeBob, which is pretty cool, actually. I don't even like SpongeBob, but that's pretty cool. And it does sound like SpongeBob. It sounds like the freaking pirate, like, painting in SpongeBob, you know? It's insanely consistent. There's so much variety here, and I loved, like, the atmosphere of this thing. It's so weird, and it's so, like, I don't know, it just feels so homey. I really love this album, man. I really love how it sounds, and it's easily one of their best to me. It's a decent to strong 9 for me. I forgot to mention, this is under God, Ween, Satan. But yeah, this one's absolutely amazing. Deserves all the praise it gets. Then we got White Pepper. Funny story, this was the second Ween album I heard, and it was like my favorite for a little. I was like, this is the best Ween album, dude. It's so good. It's so beautiful. I would have thrown it like at the top of S tier and said it was like a very strong 9, almost a 10. On re-listen, though, it doesn't really hold up. Honestly, I'm going to put it under Pure Guava. I low-key feel like this album isn't even boring. It's pretty good, but like it doesn't have the personality of the others. It doesn't have like, I don't know, I just feel like it doesn't push the boundaries as much as the others do, you know? Low-key, I feel like this, I feel like it's insanely consistent. Like I don't really think there's a bad song on here, but I just think it lacks like the diversity in sound that their better works have. Along with that, some of the songs on the back end kind of sound the same, actually. It's a pretty accessible record, and I'd say it's definitely one of the first Ween albums you should listen to. It's pretty great, though. I still really like it. It just really grew off me on re-listen is all. I could see this going like further down the list as like I move past this one. Overall, though, I'd still probably say this is like a very light 9. It could be in B tier, under Chocolate and Cheese, actually. But I'll keep it in A tier. I really like this one still, just not as much as before. It's, as I said, like maybe like a strong 8 to a light 9. Then we got Quebec. This one's going above Godwin saying Under the Pod. This probably could have been their best album if it didn't end with literally the worst songs. Cause like you have this insanely consistent album. You got the opener, you got Happy Colored Marbles, you got friggin' Hey There Fancy Pants. You got so many good, very, very just these floaty songs. It's super nice on the ears. It's like ear candy, you know? And then the Fudge Jam happens. And then it falls so far downhill after that. I'm not even saying, like, the Fudge Jam sucks. That song is an instant skip. It's easily one of their worst songs, like, ever. I hate that song. It drags. It is so annoying, super repetitive. I do not like that song at all. Okay? Then the song after that is good, you know? And then the song after that is good. And then the song after that is good. It just ends so weak. Like, it was so strong before. It was literally their best album, and then the Fudge Jam and everything else happens, and it just falls off. Man, it's low-key kind of disappointing. I feel like if you cut it before the Fudge Jam, then it's literally their best album, and probably maybe like a 10, you know? But, like, that doesn't happen, so it has to go under the pod. It's still one of their best albums, but it's not what it could have been, you know? It's still a very good album, though. I still really like it. I just think it could have ended way sooner, and if it did, it would probably be like their best album, you know? I'm feeling like a very strong 9 on this album still. It probably would have been a 10, though, without like the weird like ending to it, you know? Then we got Shinola. This one's going in S tier under the Mollusk. This is the most variety of any Ween album. You'll get a freaking like mall bossa nova song, and I'm like, yo, that was pretty good. And then all of a sudden you'll get freaking Monique the Freak, and I'm like, what is going on? It's insanely just consistent. Like, the first song is a little weird, and then it just goes like crazy. You have so much variety in this album. There's so much peak Ween on here, dude. So much diversity in sound. It's actually amazing. Seriously, if you said this was the best Ween album, I'd be like, that makes sense. Because there's so much weird stuff going on here. There's one song, I'm pretty sure it's like the Bossa Nova song I was talking about earlier, and it has like these weird like audio clips cut in. They're like news clips. It's like, what is going on? It's so good, but what is going on? You'll get a rock song, then you'll get a freaking jazz song, then you'll get the funk song. There's so much stuff going on here, and I love it, man. Super diverse in sound, just super consistent. And while the opener sucks, literally everything else after that is insanely good. This is like a decent strong 9 for me. It's easily one of their best. I love this one a lot, man. Then we got the Friends EP. Probably going in D tier. This isn't even a bad project. I just think it's like weird. Like, the first 2 songs suck. I don't like the vocals on them. I don't like the like vocals on the Friends song. They just sound weird. And then the third song is kind of goofy. Like, it could have been good if it was cut down maybe and it wasn't 5 minutes. But then the last 2 songs are actually pretty great, you know? So it's like a mix of I don't really like this, and oh, this is weird, and then you get the, oh, that was actually pretty good. It's just a whole lot of stuff, I guess. It's a short listen to, so I barely like remember a thing. I don't know why I'd listen to this over literally any other Ween album besides Crib Death. Yeah, like it's definitely an EP. It's the Ween EP of all time. It has 2 good songs, 1 weird song, and then 2 bleh songs, you know? It's like a decent 5 for me. It's literally just like, it's cool, I guess, you know? Speaking of, it's just cool, I guess, you know? We have La Cucaracha. This one's gonna go in C tier. This one can go in C or D tier. This just feels like such a watered down Ween, man. Like, seriously, what were they doing after Shinola, man? Shinola is one of their best albums. They just dropped consistent fire on fire on fire. And then they dropped some of their most, like, okay, you know, listens ever. La Cucaracha is super, it just feels so watered down. It's kind of inconsistent, too. It just feels like Ween is, I don't know, just like they lost their creativity a little, and they're kind of going back to some of the old stuff they were doing on, like, Pure Guava and the Mollusk. They're like, oh, how can we do this again, you know? Some of the vocals on here I don't like that much either. They put the Friends song on here again, but, like, made it not synthy. The vocals are still kind of weird, though. It just feels very watered down. It feels kind of incomplete. And it just feels like Ween were like, oh, we got to put out one more record, you know? Like, I don't know the story behind Ween, but if they had to, like, oh, fulfill a contract or something, and then they put this out, I would honestly believe that story. It's just, like the last few songs are actually pretty good, but overall it's a pretty forgettable Ween listen, and doesn't really have, like, the oozing personality of the Brown Trilogy, doesn't have the consistency of something like a Mollusk, and doesn't have, like, the diversity and sound of a Shinola. It's low-key kind of disappointing, and honestly, I could actually see this in D tier. It's like a very, like, strong 6 for me. It's like a strong 6 to a light 7. It's the Ween album of all time, dude. It's decent, but, like, why, you know? And there's my Ween tier list, man. As I said, I love Ween. They're super fun. I love just, like, how you could turn on one of their albums and you'll get, like, this insanely consistent, insanely fun record. I love how they, like, change their sound up a lot. So there's, like, no albums that really sound the same. It's just, like, they just make really fun music, man, and I appreciate that a lot. So, yeah, man, share your rankings in the comments as always. I'm glad you made it this far in the video. Shout out all the people that were, like, talking about Ween around me, man, because I saw, like, a bunch of subs, a bunch of friends saying, like, oh, yo, Ween's so good, and I'm like, man, I'm tired of, like, not listening to them. So I finally listened to them, and I enjoyed them a lot. So thank y'all for putting me on, because this was really fun to do. So, yeah. Share your rankings in the comments, man. Glad you made it this far in the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.